Imagine living where winter temperatures could plunge toward -40 degrees Celsius with no electricity. No radiators, electric heaters, thermostats, or modern insulation existed to protect them. Yet Viking communities survived generations of harsh winters across northern Europe. Their solution wasn't one invention, but an entire system built around heat. To understand it, first look at the enemy they faced, winter itself. Cold wind could steal body heat faster than still winter air. So Vikings designed buildings that reduced exposure rather than fighting nature mechanically. The famous longhouse became one of their most important defenses against cold. Its long, relatively narrow interior concentrated people, activities, and precious warmth together. In many regions, walls combined timber with insulating materials such as turf. Turf trapped pockets of air, slowing the movement of heat through walls. That principle is surprisingly similar to what modern insulation still accomplishes today. Roofs also formed a major barrier between warm interiors and freezing weather. Depending on place and available materials, roofs could use turf or thatch. But insulation only slows heat loss. Something still had to create warmth. At the heart of domestic life was an open fire or hearth. The hearth provided heat, light, and a place for preparing meals. One fire therefore performed several jobs that modern appliances divide between machines. Warm air from the hearth naturally rose toward the roof above. Smoke also rose, making ventilation essential inside buildings with open fires. Viking houses were therefore warm shelters, but they could also be smoky. Heat wasn't only produced by fire, the inhabitants themselves generated it continuously. Keeping many people within one enclosed space added useful body heat. Daily work, cooking, eating, and resting often happened within this shared environment. But surviving winter required protecting the body whenever people stepped outside. Wool became one of the most valuable materials in Viking clothing. Its fibers trap insulating air while remaining useful even in damp conditions. Layering garments created additional air spaces between the body and freezing air. Cloaks added another protective layer against wind, snow, and bitter temperatures. Footwear, head coverings, and practical clothing helped reduce exposed skin outdoors. Still, staying warm meant little if winter left a family hungry. Food therefore had to be prepared and stored before the hardest months. Drying, smoking, salting, and fermentation helped preserve foods for longer periods. Stored grain and preserved foods became reserves when fresh supplies became scarce. Winter survival was therefore planned months before the first heavy snow arrived. Even the location of settlements could influence protection from severe weather. Local timber, turf, stone, and vegetation provided essential building resources. Builders adapted houses to regional conditions rather than following one universal design. Some buildings used substantial turf walls that created thick thermal barriers. Others relied more heavily on timber construction suited to local resources. The key was conserving available heat instead of producing unlimited heat. That distinction explains why relatively simple technology could work in severe climates. Modern homes attack cold using furnaces, boilers, heat pumps, and electricity. Viking households depended instead on fire, insulation, clothing, food, and cooperation. Each part supported the others, creating a surprisingly effective survival strategy. Remove adequate food, and the body struggles harder to maintain its temperature. Remove protective clothing, and wind rapidly increases the danger of exposure. Remove insulation, and precious hearth heat escapes much more quickly outside. The remarkable achievement was not defeating winter, but adapting intelligently to it. Archaeology reveals houses whose surviving foundations still show these practical building choices. Reconstructed Viking buildings help researchers investigate how these spaces may have functioned. They also remind us that Viking life differed greatly across regions and centuries. There was never one identical Viking house used everywhere throughout the Viking Age. But the same basic challenge remained: keep people sheltered, fed, and warm. And they solved that challenge using materials available directly around their communities. Today we use sophisticated systems, but the physics of staying warm hasn't changed. Create heat, slow its escape, block wind, and protect the human body. The Vikings accomplished all four without thermostats, radiators, or electrical power. Their greatest winter technology was really a carefully connected system of simple solutions. In brutal northern winters, survival came from understanding nature and working with it.